Got it on Twitter.
Check.
Check to the check. Check. Mic check, Lovey. Mic check.
Yes, sir.
Check. All right, we're good.
All right, let's get rolling. Yo. Welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wiles alongside my co-hosts James Luffy and Rory Luke, and we're back in the studio for the first time in a few weeks. It's been kind of quiet in the actual studio, but we're back again. We're ready to roll. It's a great time of year. It's the holiday season, and am I too loud?
Don't move it back and forth. Hold it still. Yeah.
Am I kind of going in and out?
Yep.
Sorry. I'm used to making hand motions and the mics being still. Anyway, we're sitting in the studio. We're going no table. We're free tabling it this week, and we're just going to let it fly. We're going live late night on a Wednesday night. Exciting time of year. We got the holidays right now. LSU football is bowl eligible, headed to NRG in Houston in the Texas Bowl to play the Kansas State. I don't know what.
How exciting.
I know.
I think it's the Wildcats. Is it the Wildcats?
I think that's the Kentucky.
It's something with cats.
Something.
I can see that cat.
Yeah, I can see
Don't
it
know
as
what it's
well.
called.
The out-the-box cats.
You know, last time we were in the Texas Bowl, who we played?
Texas A&M.
Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech, yes.
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. Mhm.
Yes. And what happened there?
We won.
We won.
Right.
Leonard Fournette ran all over him.
Yep.
And look at us now compared to Mahomes. So we got an exciting show for you guys. We're going to break down Brian Kelly filling out his coaching staff, some of the interesting additions and departures from the LSU football program. Also going to talk a little bit of LSU basketball, talk a little bit of high school state championships, just a little bit, Rory, just the slightest bit.
That's fine.
Women's basketball team with a huge dub over Iowa State. Iowa State, number 14. Both the men's and women's basketball teams are ranked. We are going to get to all of it. But before we do all that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. Constant content. It's the end of the year, so you know content is flying around on bootcrewmedia.com. Articles, podcasts, you name it. It is hours of entertainment. You will not regret it. Bootcrewmedia.com and at Boot Crew Media on social media. Also, want to give a huge shout out to DraftKings. Could not think of a better time of year to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And they want you to know that now when you bet on any NFL game this week with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, new customers bet just $1 on either team to score can win $100 in free bets. When a team scores, you score. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, don't worry. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code OTB. Bet $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code OTB. This week at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Texas Bowl. Are we going? We got to go. One final time to send off the old era, the misaligned, the unstructured football program and athletic program as a whole. Everyone's on the same page. We're going to talk. I think we had the show before the press conference last week. So we're going to kind of talk about Brian Kelly's press conference, I believe. Remember, we went live.
Yes.
But the athletic program, Scott Woodward, has everything aligned. And I'm just happy that, regardless of like how the season has played out and whatnot, it's still another game of LSU football, right?
Yeah, it's another game, and we don't know who's going to be playing quarterback in that game, but it is another game. It's also the same night as the LSU-Kentucky game, which I'm sure everybody knows by now. That kind of sucks because I think the LSU-Kentucky game is going to be sold out, packed out, and really, really fun. A good game between two ranked teams, and they're doing the court dedication that night too. So yeah. I think LSU basketball might overtake LSU football that day.
I mean, We already tweeted this. I tweeted this that we're riding with the Wade. We're riding with General Wade
the
that
Wade
night.
Brigade.
We're on the Wade Brigade that night.
But anyway, no one really cares about the Texas Bowl. What we care about is the news. Some of it that broke today, some of it that broke in the last couple of days. Y'all want to start with the good or the bad?
Let's go ahead and start with the good.
The good. All right.
The good.
All right. Coach Brad Davis is now, everyone knows he's our interim head coach for the time being, but he is also going to stay on staff next year as the O-line coach. I'm very happy about that. A lot of the guys like him. A lot of the O-linemen committed have said like they want him to stay on staff.
Yeah.
But it's not just about them. It's about like him everywhere he's gone. He's been a good coach and developing players and known as a good recruiter from North Baton Rouge. So awesome to keep Coach Brad Davis on staff. Any thoughts about him?
I mean, you saw it today when that news broke today that, there was future guys,
current players
excited about it. I saw Austin Deculus tweeted
and
about it.
Former players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or soon to be former.
Yeah. So people excited to have him back. And I know you're excited to have him back. I'm excited to have him back as well. I think we saw improvement in the offensive line by the end of the year as well. You kind of saw us get gradually better as the year went on, even with people
still kind of going down towards the end of the year.
I mean, you think about it, Garrett Dellinger started at the end of the year, played pretty well. I mean, he did make some mistakes, so that's going to happen when you're a young offensive lineman. But at the end of the day, played really well. And I mean, I'm excited. I'm glad that we bring him back, have some continuity with the program. I think it'll be good for our recruits and good moving forward. I was surprised by it. Like I said last week, Brian Kelly is an offensive line guy, so I was surprised to see him keep on Brad Davis, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, and also it was definitely our strength and conditioning coach's fault, or our former one, that the offensive line kind of got eaten up this year. I think we'll kind of get to that as well, but it definitely is interesting to see, a first year O-line coach take over as the interim and then eventually stay on as for a new coaching staff.
And it barely even a year,
Exactly.
I mean, you think about the guy
this
came
was right
in
before
like
the season.
Yeah, literally right before fall camp. I mean, usually at least you get the spring on the hire. This guy came in right before fall camp and obviously impressed enough to stay on. So I'm excited about it.
I think there's bigger news, right?
Yeah, there is bigger news. But one last question: do you think that Brian Kelly knew, like, he was like, "Yeah, we're going to keep him," even before the news got announced? Technically, because he was named the interim right after the game.
Yeah,
like after the game was over, Ed did his press conference and they named him. I'm saying, do you think they already knew, like at that point, they were going to retain him or not?
I don't think that they knew at that point that they were going to retain him. I think it kind of just happened as a fluid situation. I think at the end of the day, Brian Kelly retained him because he is a Louisiana guy, Baton Rouge guy, like you said,
and a proven good coach,
and a good coach. But it's also, you need those roots, and especially with the guys that you kind of have leaving, you need those Louisiana roots to get those recruits.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to my own question, but I think that
that's why you asked it, Lovey.
That's why I asked it. I think that Brian Kelly knew he was coming to LSU before a lot of people knew, and before I think that they're letting on, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's interesting that, of course, he's the one guy or one of the only guys that are being retained, and especially, and we'll get to it, but on a staff that has this much turnover, he's the guy that's staying. I think you're right. I think at least Scott Woolward had a plan like, this is the guy, and then they were aligned in the fact that, maybe we should keep him as well.
All right, so we lost two guys that have been here forever. Two great coaches, and one coach and one.
Wait, I thought we were doing the good news first.
Is there more good news?
Yeah, there is more good news.
Ruffy, I'm surprised you're forgetting.
Frank Wilson, yes, I'm sorry. Frank Wilson is back.
That was yesterday, though, so that's old news.
Yes.
Frank Wilson's already
it's
recruiting
old good
guys.
News. Old but good.
Old news. Sorry, I'm thinking today stuff. Frank Wilson's back. Someone said, like, someone made the comparison between him and Mickey Joseph.
Yeah,
Frank Wilson is an elite recruiter.
Way better than Mickey Joseph.
Rory, you know Coach Frank.
Yeah,
Wilson?
he was there for 2 years.
Yeah.
When,
probably your first 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
my first 2 years she was there. I mean, you saw it with the guys that came out of the woodworks
to say
like, yes, Frank. All the New Orleans guys, most of any Louisiana guy, former players, current players. I mean, Leonard Fournette tweeted out that he wants to go to LSU games now that Frank Wilson's here, or he wants to go to more LSU games now. I mean, Frank Wilson is a guy that is through and through Louisiana. Just a guy that has recruited Louisiana well his whole career. And even when he would go to the small schools, like when he went to UTSA, took the head coaching job there, he still was getting the LSU. I mean, not the LSU, but the Louisiana recruits. Like, the guy is a household name amongst Louisiana football for sure. Knows all the high school coaches. Really good relationship across anybody who matters in Louisiana. So it looks good on the Louisiana front for sure.
And not only did a lot of former players come out and voice their support, but also beat writers and I don't want to call them beat writers. They're recruiting analysts and specialists that work for 247 and all the different websites around LSU, which there's a ton now, recruiting sites.
Yeah.
All those guys were like, yep, this is big.
Yeah.
And when those guys, they're really behind the scenes kind of in that whole deal too. So them, along with the players showing their support, very, very happy to have Frank Wilson back.
Also,
in Baton Rouge.
I mean, Frank Wilson's got to be happy he received a $700,000 raise to come to LSU.
That is true, but he's also been getting paid a buyout from UTSA, so he's probably still making around the same. But that buyout was ending.
It also probably means that we're gonna get him for a while. He's not gonna leave and jump ship to be a head coach again. I think he tried that out, and he obviously didn't. He did all right. McNeese has done all right. UTSA got fired from there, but
then they went 11-0 the year after he left with his players that he recruited.
Yeah,
most of his players.
So it is tough, but I think he's kind of back at LSU for a while for sure. I can't see him jumping ship to be a head coach again anytime soon.
As one final thing on that, it's like you have a guy, Brian Kelly, who is pulling recruits from Louisiana, but not to the extent he doesn't know the state. Obviously, he's a northern guy. He's been everywhere else but down south. To have a guy like him to come in and to come back, knows all, like you said, Rory, knows all these high school coaches, knows the landscape of high school football and the recruiting gold mine that Louisiana is perfect to round out this recruiting staff of LSU football that Brian Kelly's putting together. Now, my question is, with the early signing period literally starting in a week, I understand that it takes time to pull coordinators away from, say, potentially a school that is in the playoff and whatnot. What are the theories as to, don't y'all think it would be really nice right now to have two guys and two faces in the name of offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator?
Yeah, it would. Let's get to that after we talk about, I think, the other stuff, because that kind of has to do with Max.
Yeah, sure.
And his departure. But we'll talk about the bad. The bad first. We'll classify Max in a different category other than bad, John. Yeah. You can come up with a category name.
Ugly. Good, bad, ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if that works.
I don't know if that's the ugly. But
I'm not saying he's ugly. I'm just saying, if you're going to go with something, that would be it.
All right, so we lost Tommy Moffitt, strength and conditioning coach. He's been here for 20 years or something like that. 3-time national champion.
I did hear a tidbit from inside saying that he was thinking about retiring anyway. So it was kind of like a Steve Ensminger type of thing where he got let go, but he wasn't going to be around much longer. He was kind of thinking about leaving. Tommy Moffitt is a guy. I don't understand the sentiment around Tommy Moffitt and the hate form amongst the LSU community. Doesn't make sense to me. I get that there's been a lot of injuries this year, and last year, but to sit here and blame the injuries on Tommy Moffitt is wrong. If we were good, we wouldn't have this many injuries. That's just how it goes when you're bad. When you're a bad program and people start looking towards the NFL. When you're a bad LSU program, like when you're losing games, people look towards the NFL. It's just what happens. These kids have NFL aspirations, and rightfully so. So they decide to take care of their body more and put more into the Knicks than they would before if you're winning. If you're 14-0, if we're in the playoff right now, we pretty much probably don't have too many injuries. I think Ricks is still playing, Stingley's still playing. Like those guys will be playing if we're in the semifinals right now. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I think. So I don't think the LSU fan hatred of Tommy Moffitt it is justified at all. I love Tommy Moffitt. He's one of my favorite people, and I think that there's a lot of people within the LSU community or within the LSU player community who feel the same way. But it's sad to see him go. But at the end of the day, I understand it's what happened.
So the argument has been made, and I've heard it, is that the past 2 years this is the argument that I hear. The past 2 years we haven't looked the same. We've been getting blown up on the defense bringing guys home and whatnot. Like does the strength and conditioning coach, does it fall off like that? Does a guy who's been doing this for 20 years like he knows what you got to do to get strong, right? And I know he does more than that as well, but it's like it was the whole thing. It kind of reminded me of the whole thing with Aranda when Vandy scored 38 points on us, right?
Yeah.
What did people say the reason was? Some people were like, our defense is terrible. Like we don't know what we're doing out there. We look lost. But it was because the offense would score so quickly and the defense was on the field a lot longer, right?
Yeah.
Our offense the past 2 years has been on the field for way less time than the defense, right? So naturally, if you're playing more, if you're not playing, I guess, a tight game of football and whatnot, you're going to be more likely to have injuries. You're going to be more tired. And I just don't see how a strength and conditioning coach that has played and coached up 4 national championship teams, how all of a sudden the past 2 years you say, okay, if we get rid of the strength and conditioning coach and bring in a new guy, we'll be good to go as far as that goes.
All right, so the new coach is Coach Jake Flint from Notre Dame. I guess we really don't know that much about him. We'll find out more about him as it goes along, but we'll get to some more bad news. Corey Raymond, I'm not happy about this one, Rory. This one, it just stings, especially that he went to Florida too. Like, if it was somewhere else out of conference, I don't think I would be as pissed, but this one sucks. I mean, it's just everything he's done is proven. He goes and gets these guys that he finds this guy's I want him to look like this. I don't care what star he is. I mean, you've seen him do, coach 3 stars, 2 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. It doesn't matter. He goes and gets the guy he thinks is the best, and he turns them into elite corners and high draft picks. And he's done that year after year. Why he left, I'm not sure. Did we have great defensive backs before he got here? Yes.
Yeah.
And he was also, just I think a good guy to have around a lot of the team, as a whole, liked.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's a tough pill to swallow for sure. I don't think there's anybody within the LSU community that's happy about this. It's just tough. I really don't know why he left. It's not it's really not an upgrade in position at all. He's just associate head coach and cornerbacks coach at Florida.
I saw some people trying to make that argument online. Sorry
they
to cut you off.
They would have given him the associate head coach.
Yeah, they would have given him whatever title, or I don't think title was an issue with it. I think it was either maybe Brian Kelly didn't either want him or they didn't want to pay the money that he wanted. I don't know. I feel like it maybe was a combination of those two things.
Yeah, I don't know. And it might have been just him wanting something new. It sucks because you expected him to leave for a head coaching job or maybe a defense coordinator job. But to leave for the same job at one of your rivals,
a school we play every single year.
Yeah, it hurts. It definitely does hurt. You bring in a guy like Frank Wilson, who is an all-time recruiter, and then you lose a guy like Corey Raymond, another all-time recruiter. It's just tough. It almost feels like even at some point, but you would have rather have both of them on staff. I mean, you had the opportunity, and nobody knows why he left but Corey Raymond. So
to me, it feels like it was something to do with Brian Kelly. Maybe he didn't know if he was going to jive well with him. Maybe he didn't know if he was going to try to come in and mess up the scheme. Maybe he has an idea who the new DC is going to be. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is that I'm not worried yet at all. Rory, last week you kind of shed some light on your opinions on Napier.
Yeah,
but it will be sitting in the back of LSU heads at least for the next few years, especially since he just took what I'm pretty sure at one point on this show you called Corey Raymond an LSU lifer.
Yeah,
it felt like that. It felt like that to everybody, and nobody ever thought he would leave. He's been around for a long time. It will be kind of sitting in the back of my head. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, year after that. But
when Florida fires Napier in 5 years, we can have him back.
I think, I mean, I guess we'll see, but I think you're right, Lumpy. I think it was something to do with probably Brian Kelly and maybe the new DC that's coming in.
Yeah, and his replacement's name is what again? I forgot. I had it, but I forgot. And we also lost our special teams coordinator. He retired, Coach Mack. I think that was probably going to be the plan.
Yeah.
As soon as the coaching staff changed over for him to retire, they hired Brian Polian. I think I'm saying that right. From Notre Dame.
Notre Dame guy, yeah.
To be the new special teams coordinator. And the new defensive backs coach, his name is Kerry Cooks. He was like the assistant. I think there was two co-defensive backs coaches at Notre Dame. So, I mean, I guess we'll find out how he is. He's going to have a lot of talent to work with. But I mean, Brian Kelly must trust him if he's bringing him here to fill a big role. And we don't know exactly what his role will be yet, but I'm assuming it'll be some kind of code DB's coach or something.
Also, I mean, at the end of the day, Brian Kelly, you don't get those wins by not recruiting guys and not developing players. So he understands the game. And that was kind of the gripe on him with at least the national media was, can this guy recruit? Can Brian Kelly recruit when you come to LSU? Because Notre Dame kind of recruits for itself. I think we'll see. But at the end of the day, you don't win that many games without being able to get players and develop players.
At a lesser school.
Yeah.
At least a lesser football program. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But so I think that he understands the recruiting battle that's ahead. And I think we do have two very good recruiters on staff in Frank Wilson and Brad Davis. We'll see with the other guys coming in. But, I mean, those two guys are solid recruiters, solid Louisiana guys. Like, Louisiana is still on lock. Like, you can't tell me that we're going to start losing all these Louisiana guys because Raymond and Jabbar Jalouk are at Florida. I mean, Jabbar Jalouk was coaching at UL. He got fired from LSU. So,
and one thing that Brody Miller pointed out is like the guys that they've hired. Frank Wilson is going to be like the associate assistant head coach. Brian Polian is the special teams coordinator, but was also part of like Notre Dame's like scouting. And then Jake Flint, the strength and conditioning coach. Those are the guys that kind of like manage the roster.
Yeah. Right.
So like as far as recruiting, they're probably trying to evaluate LSU's current roster, which is part of the reason why we've seen some of this attrition, which we're about to talk about with Dion and Max, and some other guys. But those guys are the guys that kind of are probably going to be the key four if you put Brian Kelly in there and Brad Davis and key five of developing the roster, right? Yeah. Or trying to figure out we need these positions, we don't need these positions, whatever. And then eventually I think we'll get to hiring the OC and DC. But
I think Brian Kelly, and like you said, Rory, like the amount of wins that he has and the amount of success he's had, he's smart enough to know that people talk about him not being able to recruit Louisiana and whatnot, and I think that's a bunch of BS and all that. he's smart enough to know that if that is not his strength, he's got to find somebody like a Frank Wilson that can do it. Right?
Yeah.
If you know that your strength or know that something you struggle with is going to be exposed, then you find a piece to make it better. And I feel like that was a problem that LSU football's had for the last, 14, 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, just to take a broad approach at this, everybody talks about how Coach O is like this all-time recruiter. And then, they don't talk about Nick Saban being an all-time recruiter, but it still happens like every time. And Alabama kind of recruits for itself, but he made it into that.
Yeah,
and coaches understand their strengths and weaknesses, and recruiting guys at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It doesn't change. Well, it changes a little bit, but that you're either good at it. Well, I think you can get better, but there's guys that are very good, and then there's guys that are adequate, but good football coaches as well. And I think you just need a combination of both.
Is it a turnoff though if Brian Kelly walks into a house in South Lafourche Parish and eats a really spicy gumbo and starts coughing and freaks out and sweats all over the kitchen table that was probably made by one of their great grandfathers? It could.
That's why you send Frank Wilson with them.
Okay. All right.
BK's got a little weight on him. He can eat now.
Exactly. I'm just saying you just got to know your weaknesses.
Yeah.
But before we get to, I guess thoughts on who may or may not be the OC in the next DC, I want to give a huge shout out to one of our great sponsors, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. I'm not even going to joke around during this one. I know we like to have a little fun whenever we talk about Blaine, but Blaine had one of the best days of his life on, I believe, Friday. He sent a Snapchat, told me what he was going to do. And then Saturday, I think, was one of the best days of his life. He proposed to his girlfriend, and she said yes. And just like that was the best day of Blaine's life, the best thing that you can do if you're looking to buy, rent, or sell your home is to call Blaine Loop, the guy that just got engaged. Make sure to call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031. That's 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. He wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent, but he won't be your boyfriend because he's locked up now. So
that is true. Congrats, Blaine.
All right.
Also, wait, one thing
about Blaine,
about Corey Raymond. Moscona just tweeted this, talking about how LSU routinely gave other assistants more money who don't have his credentials, and Corey Raymond saw it as disrespectful. They assumed his loyalty. They were wrong.
That's not necessarily true, Rory.
I
is
don't
it?
believe that. I don't believe that at all.
They gave coordinators more money, but they were coordinators.
Yeah. I think if Corey Raymond wanted to be the highest paid single position coach in America, they would have made him the highest paid.
And I think he was at one point.
Yeah. I just don't agree with that.
Wasn't there the thought that he didn't whenever we were talking about if Coach O gets fired, who's going to be the interim? Wasn't there thought that, why don't we get Corey Raymond to? And it was he doesn't want it.
Yeah. Also, you have to look at you can't look at that in a vacuum. You have to look at it as a whole. College football coaching money has only gotten bigger. So the guys that get the new contracts are obviously going to get more money than Corey Raymond got in 2014. That's why Corey Raymond just restructures his deal or re-signs his deal and he gets more money. I don't think it was specifically a money thing. I think also if Corey Raymond wanted more responsibility, I think he could have got it. I really don't know what it was, but I think it's ludicrous to think that it was money.
All right. Y'all want to talk about losing the QB? I feel like we've taken too long into this episode to talk about losing our starting quarterback.
But that's just how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is now. We've been saying for a while that we would either lose Max or Nuss, that all three wouldn't come in the fall. But we thought it was going to be more of a spring thing and not right before the bowl game. So Rory does have a year of eligibility left.
I do.
He's going out to practice next week when finals are over, and he will be trying to compete for the starting job at quarterback.
You can throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
So we are going to get great insight on interim coach Brad Davis.
Yes,
but
the fake snap I got you.
About the fake slide.
How
about that?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Could hurt yourself. All right. Max Johnson decided to transfer. We lose Jake Johnson, number 1 tight end in the country. Probably was going to start tight end for us next year.
Hurts.
It sucks. I mean, I think it sucks. I'm kind of sad that we lost Max. Whether you liked Max or not, I thought that he was like gonna, he's definitely giving it his all every snap, working his ass off.
Yeah, for sure.
Like taking hits.
It's like a bad beat, like being the quarterback at LSU for the past 2 years.
It just stinks that he goes out like this, and LSU fans hate him so much when they love a guy like Danny Etling. And no disrespect to Danny Etling, but Max Johnson's better than Danny Etling. I think he just got put in a bad situation this year with a bad offense coordinator, and last year was just about as hectic as it can be.
I don't see how you could really dislike him. Now, it's one thing if you don't want him to be the quarterback, but like he's given us like a bunch of big wins, and we did not think we were going to get him. Florida last year, Ole Miss last year, and then the other day against A&M.
Yeah, he's shown nothing but like toughness in the pocket as well. I mean, the guy took hit after hit last year and this year. I mean, yeah, at times he didn't look great, but I mean, I definitely didn't want him to transfer. I wanted to see a quarterback battle in the spring, but it is what it is.
Does this kind of feel the same like we were talking about a little bit earlier? Like maybe him and Brian Kelly had a meeting and it just didn't seem like it was going to work out. I mean, I don't think Max is running away with his tail between his legs, but I think if you got to look at the future and look at what the writing on the wall, I mean, everyone's going to be talking about it, has been for the last year or two, and will be for the near future. Walker Howard's coming, right? He's right across the basin. He's coming. You got Nussmeier, who's young. Do you think Max, Brian Kelly, you had a talk with him, was like, look, like you're getting, towards the back half of your career at LSU, maybe the scheme, maybe the new OC, maybe he's already got an idea of who he wants, what kind of offense he wants to run. Maybe he just doesn't want a left-handed quarterback. I don't know. But I don't think LSU fans should take this as Max just running away with his tail between his legs. I think there's something more than just,
there's other factors
I don't think I'm gonna win the quarterback battle this summer, so I'm gonna go somewhere where it'll be easier.
I mean, and the other team that was neck and neck with LSU for Walker Howard, Notre Dame. So Brian Kelly does know what he's getting in Walker Howard.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if Nuss wants to win the starting job, he needs to be playing in the bowl game.
Yeah, I agree.
Who cares about the red shirt at that point?
I know.
You're competing for a starting job. You're going to be in the spring, trying to win that job. And why not get an early start? Like, why not get a head start? I mean,
if you don't win the battle, if you don't win it now, or at least show something.
Yeah, if you don't win it in the spring, you're transferring anyway. So
exactly.
I agree. Which also might leave us with one scholarship quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I don't see how you don't start Nussmeier. The red shirt doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the red shirt mattered if he was going to have to wait his turn behind Max, but now it's your job to take pretty much. I mean, shoot, Walker Howard's not coming in the spring. Like, it's just going to be Nuss in the spring. He's not coming in early. He's not going to be an earlier enrollee. So you show out in the spring and you bring that to fall ball when Walker Howard shows up. It's your job.
Show out in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Has this because before the season, right? We, leading up to this season, we were all saying like, yeah, this is a great problem to have. Like you had
deep QB room. But we knew though, like everyone who's saying that, I think everyone knew. Like if you didn't know that we were only going to end up with 2 quarterbacks at the end of the year, then you were just dumb, right? In the spring, right? When we had 4. And if you didn't think by the end of the football season we were going to end up with 2 and possibly only 1, then you're just not thinking ahead, because that's not how things work anymore. With the transfer portal and not having to sit out a year and just the freedom they have to transfer wherever, and only 1 quarterback plays, all these kids want to play. Like that was a real possibility. So I don't think it's like anything out of the ordinary, like some people want to make it out to be.
We should have ran a 2 quarterback system, kind of like we have in the past.
We did kind of try that.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking. We'll do the old Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson. We'll just
what a duo. What a duo.
Worked good once. Why not do it again? Why not run it back?
All right, we lost Deion Smith. I'm not happy about that. We obviously have 4 other freshman wide receivers who all look to be pretty good. Obviously, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and Besh played a ton this year. Hilton didn't play a ton. I wouldn't be surprised if he transferred as well. But losing Deion Smith sucks because he balled out in the games that he played in.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a starter wherever he goes next year. Yeah. As a sophomore, he's going to be a starter at Ole Miss. So we're going to be directly competing against him next year. Most likely if he, stays in the SEC, which I think he's probably going to like Ole Miss or State. That sucks, but that is part of it. We knew we lost our wide receivers coach. We knew we were going to lose at least one of the 5 freshman wide receivers. And I don't know. He was a good player, so it sucked to see him leave. We lost Landon Jackson today, who was a freshman D lineman. Played a little bit. I think I saw where he played in like 4 or 5 games, but a big dude. I mean, 6'7", looks like an athlete. I don't know, like John said earlier, maybe he was talking to the coaches and it wasn't going to really work out as far as like roster wise, and he may have decided to leave. Any thoughts on those two? I
mean, the Landon Jackson thing, it doesn't really worry me. I think we definitely have enough defensive line depth to supplement, but
I also think probably Texas is where he's from, is in his ear. Yeah, and that's probably where he'll go.
Yeah. The Smith thing does stink, but again,
it's part of it.
He would have just been the 4th guy on the depth chart. You have 3 other wide receivers who are clearly in front of him, so and are going to stay in front of him for a while. So,
I just think he has a ton of potential.
I think he does too. He played really well when he did play. You're right. So, it does suck, but it's the name of the game.
Can we talk about probably one of the saddest pieces of news throughout this the whole last week and a half is the coldest.
Yep.
The coldest.
I had that that was next on my list, John.
The coldest. I don't know how many stars he is. I don't know how much of an impact player he was going to be, but I was very much looking forward to just being able to say, did you see the coldest? On the during the
you
game.
Just choked up. You can't even get words.
I know
out.
that's what I'm saying. I'm just like
you're so upset.
John just want to be able to make a corny joke. That's really what he wanted to do with the coldest to make a corny joke online.
And in the moment when we're live and all that, I couldn't even do it because I was so torn up about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, whenever that happened, I was like, "Damn, John's not gonna be able to make any." Dude, I was like, "John's gonna be upset because he can't make name jokes."
That was honestly the coldest thing he could have done to us.
Yeah, that was.
You were just waiting. I have one for you that you could have had at the tailgate. Is that the coldest beer? It's gone now. Never have it.
He could have made a lot of NIL money here. And honestly, I don't know if he got cut from the class.
Ice cream shop. Go to the ice cream shop. They got the coldest ice cream.
But I still think that he might end up in the class, but maybe not. If he got cut, then he probably won't. If he didn't, then he might end up back in the class because we don't really have that many receivers.
There was talk about that. He may have gotten cut anyway. Right?
6 months ago, I heard that. So I don't know if that. And I mean that all kind of depends on who else you get committed.
His sophomore year.
Very, very early. Very, very early. So you got
to lock a guy down like that. They knew the NIL stuff was coming, and the boosters knew.
I think the worst recruiting loss so far is definitely Jake Johnson. I mean, obviously,
the number one tight end in the nation.
Yeah. You understand why he left, but also, can we talk about what's up with Arik Gilbert? What is he doing? Who is he playing for?
Georgia could have used them.
I know they could have used them.
Georgia could have used them. And my thing with losing young Johnson is that I don't know if Besh is going to play wide receiver or tight end. Besh is phenomenal, but are you going to keep him as tight end all season? I worry about him maybe being our only tight end.
Yeah.
Because, you saw that they didn't really have that much trust in Cole Taylor, just the amount of snaps he was playing, right?
Yeah. I think you need a Foster.
2 tight ends.
Yeah, you need a Foster Morrow type of guy.
System.
You need a blocker, like a bruiser type tight end to come in and play. I mean, you saw. I feel like I don't know if the offense really transformed. I wouldn't say that at all, but the offense did play better with Jack Mashburn in there, playing that fullback.
Yeah, we got Mash. Forgot about Mash.
Yeah, H-back position.
Wait, was he a senior?
No,
he's got to have another year.
He's a sophomore.
Okay.
Or no, he might
no,
be
because he was on 19 team.
Yeah, he's a junior.
Okay.
But the offense definitely looked better with him in there. The running game looked better. So you just need that kind of blocking tight end.
And we do have another tight end committed, but it's hard to play as a tight end as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, like what Besh did this year and what Gilbert was a freak athlete, but and this other guy, he might end up, turn into a great tight end, but it's very hard to come be an impact player in the SEC for a winning team.
I think if we're looking forward and we're looking at the transfer, the good thing about this now is that you can go ahead and get anybody at any position. I mean, not anybody, but you can make an upgrade at any position you want in the transfer portal. I mean, there are kids transferring left and right, and that's just how college football is these days. There's recruiting kids, and then there's getting recruiting kids as transfers. So you can go into the transfer portal and get some tight ends, and I think that should definitely be a priority. I think we should be looking for offensive linemen and tight ends on the offensive side of the ball, and probably linebackers and defensive linemen on the defensive side of the ball for transfers.
Yeah, I mean, we got Stingley and Ricks coming back on the corners, so
yeah, if only.
No, so y'all want to list off a few potential OCDCs, Luffy? I know you've been scouring Tiger droppings and the different message boards on different theories about who Brian Kelly might like. But I'm going to ask the question, I know he's building his staff. I know there's not a lot of time to do it and whatnot, but is it concerning that we don't have either side of the ball a face to either side of the ball?
I think it's coming. I think at least one side's coming.
It's coming.
I think one side's coming sooner rather than later. The deal with this new early signing day is that it's going to be like for new coaches coming into their new jobs, right? They're going to try to finish out as strong as they can with the current commitments they have right now, right? So try to get 12, 15 guys, and then after that, it's free agency for college football.
Yeah,
between early signing day, actual signing day, and is going to be free agency now because of the transfer portal. We've been talking about it, half the show, but there's guys out there. We're probably going to have to go, 3, 4, 5 guys even maybe.
Yeah. And you're going to have room for it.
Yeah. And then, so hopefully by that point after the signing day, things cool off a little bit, and, hopefully we'll have some coaches in soon after that, and they'll be able to, try to finish the class out with some good transfers and some good players coming out of high school on actual signing day. But it's just part of it. There's nothing really he can do about it. I'm sure that he's either got his guy or he's going through the evaluation process.
And it's also not everybody that's signing right now. There's still the other signing period, so you can still go after guys.
Yeah.
Is the next offensive or defensive coordinator playing for the playoff?
Yeah, I think probably maybe one of them. I mean, we can go ahead and talk about Joe Brady if y'all want. A lot of people here obviously want Joe Brady back as the OC, and I don't know if it's a real possibility just because I don't know if Brian Kelly will trust him, not knowing him well.
Yeah.
As far as trying to figure out, like you said, who he may be looking at, it's actually very hard because the way that we run things, you're not hearing about any of this stuff until it actually happens.
Yeah.
There was no Corey Raymond rumors.
No, there was no Corey Raymond.
There was no Mickey Joseph rumors before he left. It was just he left. And then it was there's no, there wasn't any Frank Wilson rumors really.
No.
He resigned, and within 10 minutes later, LSU had announced it. Everything's just behind the scenes.
Sealing off this bubble.
The people on the end are gone right now.
It's the alignment, John. Like you've been saying, there's alignment.
Dude, he literally told everybody what he was going to do. He's going to align the whole athletic staff. What I really like about Scott Woodward, you can tell Scott Woodward has his hands in the LSU football program, but it's not in a way that is meddling. It's what can I do to help? Who can I reach out to? The Frank Wilson hire. that was Scott Woodward, right?
Yeah.
Like they got together and they discussed it, and Scott Woodward probably, I assume, initiated the contact.
Brian Kelly probably has known him for
forever. So it's
Frank
almost
Wilson
like
was.
it's almost like you have a business manager, like an office assistant, helping out the head coach, and not like Panamsky. Right?
It's more of like a GM spot, but he doesn't choose players. He kind of like helps choose and negotiate contracts for coaches,
Right. And he's very good at it. And he has a background in politics. It's just like, it's like the perfect storm.
Which matters because the NCAA and politics are kind of all mixed in together right now.
LSU is heavily, I guess, influenced by the political climate in Louisiana. So not to get all political on you, Rory, but it is like LSU. I'm talking more like as far as like dollars go.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
For the university, I'm not having a debate here on the Out the Box show as we're live on a Wednesday night. But all right, so y'all want to kind of clean up the LSU football talk.
Wait, do y'all want Joe Brady or not? Just one word answers.
No, not as the OC.
You know what's hard about it? That's not a one-word answer. You know what's hard about him going to the NFL and getting an OC position after he was never an offensive coordinator before that on paper is that he's not going to go back to go be a wide receivers coach or something somewhere. He's going to be searching for an offensive coordinator position.
Yeah.
And I think it probably, given that Joe Brady was fired, like now it's going on a few days ago, I think it's probably would already happen by now. And I don't think Scott Woodward I don't think that really fits his mold of who he would, I guess, him and Brian Kelly would want to go after. So no.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, Woodward offered him a shit ton of money to stay. So I don't know if that's part of it, but $2.5 million for him compared to going to coach as a position coach in the NFL, I don't think he's going to get paid that much. So I think he would want to come back to LSU.
I'll take him. I will take him.
I'll take him. That's fine. All right.
Let's kind of clean up talking about LSU. I think suffice to say, like, we're all plenty confident enough in Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward's ability to fill out this coaching staff and get the ball rolling. It is a tough process switching over essentially in the middle of the season, right? I mean, Notre Dame was right there knocking on the door of the playoff.
That would have been funny if they made the playoffs, honestly.
Well, they weren't because the committee announced that they weren't going to let him in because they didn't have a coach, which was also kind of messed up. But
last thing before we get to the workbox, Brian Kelly, the difference between kind of him and Les and O is he's been able to adapt because he's been doing it on all these changing times, and his teams have still been good. Like they finished number 5 in the polls this year, and Les and we were good at first with Les. He wasn't able to adapt to like all the different changes, and O wasn't able to handle success and adapt as well. And Brian Kelly's shown that ability in the past. If you look at all of his past teams, and even going back to this past year, they lost a ton of guys. They lost staff. They lost all their offensive and defensive production from last year, and they're still finished number 5 in the country.
They went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and wait,
they went to the playoffs They went to the playoffs in 2018 and 2020.
But I'm saying, and they lost all their guys. Like they lost a lot of guys. They lost a lot of guys, coaches, and still almost went back this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
so
they went to the national championship in 2013.
And it's not like he's not. I mean, he is losing coaches and all that during this. Like it's not like he's it's the same coaches the entire time. He's shown that ability to adapt and change, and that's one thing that Owen and Les really couldn't get right. But anyway, Workbox is one of Louisiana's leaders in construction, industrial, and residential services with more than 20 years of experience in the industry. They're capable of providing storage containers, portable offices, portable restroom rentals, and roll-off dumpsters. If you're building a new house, you need a dumpster, John, you call Workbox LLC, 225-343-4886. If you need porta potties, storage containers, portable offices, portable restroom rentals, or roll-off dumpsters, they're the best. They have the cleanest porta potties in the nation. Call Workbox LLC, 225-343-4886.
All right. I have a quick 30-second segment. Rory, do you know where I was at Saturday night?
state championship game.
I was at the state championship game. The Catholic High Bears beat the Jesuit Blue Jays 14-10. All right, let's move on to the LSU basketball segment.
With those guys that y'all recruited?
No.
Yeah, okay. LSU basketball.
Nothing really happened.
I know. They just get by.
Well, no, we got a 10-day break.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Catholic.
Hate us because they ain't us.
Without recruiting. Well,
though.
LSU basketball.
Yeah. So
plays Saturday.
No, what I'm saying is LSU basketball, men's and women's, is both ranked for the first time, and the LSU
since 2006.
Team, and the LSU women's team, I thought, you know what is awesome? Whenever you don't have football on, say Tuesday or Wednesday nights, and you get to watch another LSU sport, that's actually exciting.
That's why I've been like pissed in this like long break they've had. They've had 10 days, and I know Coach Wade was excited.
Is that intentional? I was looking for a game Monday night or whenever.
I think because
they normally play Monday, Thursday.
Yeah, I think that, like Roy said, something to do with finals. But it sucked having that break. I'm like, gosh, I just want to watch some LSU basketball. It's like right when you got really into it. It's like they just stopped playing for 2 weeks.
At this time last year, you would have never even thought that the women's basketball team would even be competing at all, much less beating the number 14 team in the country.
Or we'd be talking about them.
That is, yeah. I mean, seriously, that is honestly incredible, and it just goes to show you,
Scott Woodward,
the alignment.
Also, like, there's one thing about LSU, and it's a reason why gymnastics is always sold out. Like, people go to the gymnastics. I
like the new gymnastics coach too. Or is he new?
Well, he was on the staff before, but
he was right there after Brian Kelly or before at the men's basketball game. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah. Yes. Like he came out.
He goes, LSU is no longer just a football and basketball school; it's a gymnastics school too.
But like LSU fans are willing and able to get behind a winner. So the LSU women's basketball team, those games are going to start to get packed. Like if they keep winning, those games will be crowded 100%. It's like I said, like nobody in the nation goes to gymnastics meets, but LSU.
Our gymnastics program.
But LSU. Like our gymnastics program is really good, and being really good means that LSU fans are going to show up. So anyway, it's a good time to be an LSU fan.
Yes.
Besides Corey Raymond.
Yeah, but if Florida ends up,
we'll miss you, Corey. We're gonna beat your ass the next couple of years. I'll tell you that right now.
If Florida ends up
we own Florida,
being good under Napier.
Florida's not gonna be good under Napier. I'm gonna have to eat some words.
You're gonna have to like back.
I would. Like I said, I'm not. Close to freaking out yet, but it will be sitting in the back of my head for a little while.
Well, LSU basketball plays this Saturday against Georgia Tech. Some like invitational.
It's like the ACC challenge.
No, I think it's at Georgia Tech.
It's in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, it's in Atlanta.
So it might be at Georgia Tech because that is in Atlanta or right outside of Atlanta. But I think it's some kind of invitational thing. Yeah. Doesn't really matter, but it should be a good matchup for us as far as like kind of seeing how we are progressing after that long break. I'm still kind of ready for us to get, start playing some bigger physical teams. And I think this is a good step because it's really hard to tell right now, even though we've looked good. But like I said, we've physically dominated these teams we've been playing.
It's a holiday hoops giving this weekend.
There you go.
How about that?
The hoops giving.
LSU's going to give it to whoever they play.
Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Yep. No, I know. But even after that game when they win, Anyway, all right. What up? We got any more miscellaneous topics? Miscellaneous, Luffy?
Oh, are we talking Saints or no? I mean, that's kind of up to y'all. I think Rory did place it Unchained last week.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. On the Saints.
Also, Kansas State is the Wildcats, so I was right.
But I don't really have any notes on the Saints. I did have some notes, but they're kind of irrelevant now with like the Taysom versus Trevor thing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was kind of like a Max versus TJ. It was like when TJ was starting last year and struggling because he had no time to throw under that bad O line. It kind of was like and no like really body to throw to because everybody was banged up. It was like he was it was like TJ is Trevor, like sitting back there behind a bad O line.
Yeah.
But Max is Taysom, kind of getting it last year, how they used him, how he would get in and run, and he was more effective with the bad O line. I think that's ultimately why the Saints made the switch between the two, is because Sean Payton was like, this isn't going to work with him sitting back here with nobody to throw to in no time. The whole O line's banged up. We got to switch to a more mobile quarterback. I thought that was kind of very similar with the Max TJ stuff, but that's irrelevant.
I had one note. The Saints need to get Russell Wilson at the end of the year. All right. Let's get on to the House Always Wins segment presented by the House Bar in Tigerland. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland. Football season's over with.
Hashtag build the bridge.
Yeah, what is going on with that, man? Why would they shut? I mean, I get why, but
I mean, you're the engineer. Tell us what was wrong with the bridge.
So whenever you have members of a structure that are not sound, the molecules and the atoms start to break down within the composite material that the bridge is built from. Therefore, you have to reinforce the members with some sort of structure that will allow the given load over the bridge, right? So all those people flooding into the House Bar in Tigerland over the bridge for all those years, slowly but surely put unnecessary tensile and tangential stress on the bridge. I don't know what any of that stuff means, but it sounded good, right?
It did sound good. It's tensile, and is that real?
And it's some sort of some words that the teacher used to say while I was sleeping in the back,
drunk, hungover.
So
I won't mention the other things.
No, I was taking notes.
But shout out to
I couldn't hear.
To the House Bar in Tigerland. It's home. The house is home.
House is home. Hey.
Make sure you take Alvin Dark now, because you can't get over the bridge.
Don't walk there. Okay.
Did y'all see the video of that kid try to jump it?
I didn't see that.
Some kid tried to jump it, and he tried to run and jump the bridge, and it was like straight out of like a movie scene, and he thought he was going to be like James Bond, and got maybe like a quarter of the way there, maybe got a fourth to the other side, and
thought he was like
fell
Spider-Man.
into the abyss.
Some wild things happen outside of right outside of Tigerland. You never know what happens.
In all seriousness, don't try to do that. Just get an Uber around and get there safely, because
Pluckers is hurting.
When you are going to your home, you want to be safe and you want to have a great time. Make sure to go to the House Bar in Tigerland. Follow them on Twitter at Tigerland House, and on Facebook and Instagram at House of Tigerland. All right. So I actually won. I won my House Always Wins pick last week. I had the Chiefs covering on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos. It was flexed. I always love when a game gets flexed because it sounds so much cooler. This week, I am taking – I don't really understand this one. I don't think the Browns are good at all. They are playing the Ravens at home this Sunday at noon. Ravens coming off a big win this past week, and they're not favorites. They're underdogs. So I'm going to take the Ravens money line. It is plus 115, but nonetheless, it's plus money.
All right, I gave you the Dolphins -3 last week. Easy money. I think the line closed at like 6.5, 7. I'm that sharp that I was on the right side of it that early. We're always trying to say because Zach Wilson was out. That should have moved the line the other way.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones was out. And especially with Glennon, right? Glennon played quarterback. Line should have moved the other way. That's how sharp it was. It was 4 points ahead of it. Dolphins easy. I've been riding the Dolphins. And also last week I said don't bet the Pats, but I actually did bet the Pats. The wind change made me bet the Pats. I knew that they would have a perfect game plan just to run it in that weather. And the Bills have struggled running the ball recently. So sorry. I should have tweeted something like alert. I bet the Pats, even though I said not to. Anyway, I'm taking the Bengals. Give me Joey B coming off of a loss. Bengals win outright. I think they're like a 2-point dog plus, 115. I don't even need the points. I'll just give me the Bangies.
The Bengals.
So you got plus money money line. I'll take a plus money line as well. I'm on the Steelers this week on Thursday night against Kirk Cousins. Give me a primetime Kirk Cousins to fade.
Luffy, what's your rule?
Never bet on or against the Vikings.
I bet on the Vikings last week.
How did it go?
I put them in the teaser, thinking, hey, Vikings, they can probably beat the 0-10 Detroit Lions. Well, the Lions are 1-10 now. So, Vikings lost on the last play last week. Quick turnaround. They got to play Thursday night this week. And you're going to give me Mike Tomlin in prime time versus Kirk Cousins in prime time and give me plus money Mike Tomlin. I'm taking plus money Mike Tomlin all the way.
Okay.
I think it's Pitts. They're plus 3.5, but I'm taking a money line, so I think they're like plus 145 or something. Give me Pittsburgh Steelers money line this week. Also, last week I won Napier again last game. Those UL fans are going crazy. That was easy money. That was like the easiest money I've ever won.
Straight
Napier
cash.
Still stinks at Florida, but at UL, great coach.
Well, he hadn't coached the game yet, but he's building a good staff. You got to give him that by taking Corey Raymond. But I think that about does it for the House Always Wins segment in our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough. It's a great time of year. The holidays are rolling. The LSU athletic program is rolling. LSU basketball, men's and women's. LSU baseball is just right around the corner. Could not be more excited for this time of year. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors, the House Bar and Tigerland, Blaine Lube with Keller Williams Realty, Workbox LLC, and DraftKings. And Blaine wanted you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner. Each office is independently owned and operated. All right. So we're going to pack up the out the box tailgate. Luffy, what day is the game? I know it's the same day as the Kentucky game.
No, we're going to the Kentucky game.
We'll have it on TV at a tailgate for the basketball game. The people tailgate for the basketball. I'm not ready to give it up yet.
We can tailgate the basketball game. I'm down to tailgate a basketball game for sure.
Yeah. The only problem is weekdays, but other than that.
They play Kentucky on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's a tough day.
All right, so I'll take off work.
But that Saturday they play Tennessee also at home, 5:00 on Saturday. That's tailgate city.
Let's get it. Oh God, my ears are sweating.